Colonel Kurt Hansen is the leader of the Bargus faction operating in Dogtown and the primary antagonist for the Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty expansion. Now, we don't get to see him in action a lot during the campaign, but his specs are nothing to scoff at. In this video, we're going to take Kurt Hansen's build and maximize it to its full potential. Now, just a warning before we dive into it, I will be mentioning stuff from the Phantom Liberty campaign, so if you don't want to be spoiled, I will try to give you a warning, but just keep that as a heads up. First up, we're going to be talking about all three of Colonel Hansen's weapons, the Fang knife, the Bald Eagle Revolver, and the Wild Dog light machine gun. Now, how do you get all three of these iconic weapons? Spoiler warning ahead. During the Firestarter mission where you have to talk to Kurt Hansen as one of the Cassels, and then you go down to talk to Songbird to get the AI from the Cynosure core. Now, depending on what ending you want for the campaign, choose what you want, but if you end up siding with Songbird, you cannot gain access to the Fang knife. During the scene, Alex kills Kurt Hansen, but you can go back up into that area and get his goods, which would be the Bald Eagle and the Wild Dog. The only guaranteed way to get all three is to side with Reed, where you will have to face Colonel Hansen on your way out of the stadium, and once you drop him, you can actually pick up all three iconic weapons. Now, first up, let's talk about Fang. We do get plus 50% headshot damage multiplier and a plus 30% bleeding chance. Thrown hits cripple the target, preventing escape. Continued attacking in close combat has increased damage. The one good thing with this knife, I will admit, is that if you have a target that has a Sandevistan or is running away and you hit them in the leg, automatically cripples them. It's like cripple movement from the Cyber deck, it's just with the knife. Next, let's talk about the Bald Eagle. We do have a plus 250% headshot damage multiplier and a plus 75% armor penetration, and it does fire explosive rounds. After throwing iconic knife Fang into an enemy's leg, shooting the same leg will shred it to pieces and return Fang to your hand, effective against moving targets. Like I said with Fang, you can hit someone in the leg, stop them from moving, and then shoot it. I did find that there are problems just with trying to shoot the leg and getting the knife to return. It is not very consistent at all. I'm not sure if it's a bug or what's going on. I've seen on Reddit that other people are having issues with this as well. So do not count the knife coming back to you from shooting the leg. So just keep that in mind. And lastly, we have Wild Dog. It is a plus 85% headshot damage multiplier and a plus 25% armor penetration. It is a heavy weapon, so it slightly reduces movement speed and jump height. In the flavor text, repeated hits, increased rate of fire, and crit chance. Quick melee attacks deal massive damage when the ammo is empty. Now, note the increased fire rate and crit chance is kind of disgusting on a light machine gun, especially since we're going to be speccing a little bit into the machine gun perks under body. But note the quick melee attacks deal massive damage. It's not that massive, and you don't want to be too close with the machine gun anyway, but we are going to be specced in for close quarters combat anyway. Next, let's talk about how to distribute your attribute points around and what perks to focus on under all the skill trees. Note, I am level 60, and you can switch some stuff around with this build. Again, every build in Cyberpunk is pretty versatile in what you can switch around, so this is just how I like it, but if you like something else, definitely put that on and let me know in the comments what it is. Under body, we maxed it out to level 20 so we can gain access to the top row of perks up here. Again, the middle tree is for health regen. I definitely recommend going with Painkiller, Comeback Kid, Speed Junkie, and Army of One. You really don't need Door Fed since we aren't using Blood Pump. I would recommend maxing out Adrenaline Rush so you can get that extra health when using a health item. It's very good. Also, Unstoppable Force. You gain immunity to movement penalties and non-damaging status effects such as knockout, blinding, etc. when you have Adrenaline Rush. Kind of broken. We also have Juggernaut here, which connects over to Bloodlust from the left skill tree here, which is a focus on shotguns, LMGs, and HMGs. So definitely would recommend Die. This is Rebecca, as you can see, but it will increase the fire rate as your stamina decreases, which is very, very nice. We also got Like a Feather, Don't Stop Me Now with Bullet Ballet. We maxed out Spontaneous Obliteration, which Obliterate is a fantastic perk, especially on shotguns, but with LMGs, it is pretty solid too. It's the ability to sometimes instantly kill and dismember enemies at low health. Absolutely disgusting. Also going with Rush of Blood, which will connect Bloodlust. We also have Dread, Close Quarters Carnage, and then Onslaught. This is very good for LMGs. Definitely recommend this perk right here. It is a plus 20% ammo refill after neutralizing an enemy with a light machine gun. You kill an enemy, it's an auto reload, and with the increased fire rate from Wild Dog and crit chance, you could continue firing this weapon as long as you're killing targets. For reflexes, we have it at 18 out of 20 and a focus on the middle tree here, which is all about movement. Again, definitely recommend Slippery here to get access to the rest of these. But we also have Power Slide, Parkour, Muscle Memory, and Multitasker, basically giving bonuses to any of our movement and allowing us to reload while doing a variety of things. With dash, again, dash is the improved version of the dodge. You definitely want to get this up to 2. I have mean streak as well with steady grip, and then can't touch this. And then lastly, maxed out this one here, which is air dash, which allows you to dash in midair. I think everyone loves this tech right here. Definitely highly recommend it. And then I also put on aerial acrobat. Under technical ability, we maxed it out to level 20 here. Again, the middle tree here focuses on stuff with your cyberware. Again, you know, all things cyber, plus 10% all cyberware stat modifiers, minus 20% cyberware cost. Basically, everything is going to help us under our cyberware. So I also have on Renaissance Punk, Chrome Constitution, Lucky Day, and then Driver Update. Whenever you're upgrading your cyberware, be sure to put on Chipware Connoisseur. Again, whenever you're upgrading your cyberware, you can just take off one and put it on, and then when you're done, you can take it off. So it kind of saves you a point there. Next, License to Chrome. Definitely recommend maxing this out so you can gain that extra skeleton cyberware slot. Then also Extended Warranty with Ambidextrous, which also gives another cyberware slot to your hands. And then we have Cyborg, and then obviously Edge Runner, which allows for the Fury state. And whenever you're in your Fury state, it's a plus 10% damage, plus 30% crit chance, and plus 50% crit damage. Now note, it allows you to exceed your normal cyborg capacity by 50 points at the cost of 0.5% max health per point. So you will lose health, but honestly, it does not really matter. On the left side, we have a focus on health items and grenades. And if you scan Colonel Hansen, you actually see that he uses the flash bang grenade. So we will be using that under our quick access for our grenades. It's going to be the main thing we're going to be using. But again, for the perks, definitely get Glutton for Reward just so you can unlock the rest of it. Health Freak, again, it's just a +1 to your health item charge, increased recharge speed for your health items and grenades. Field Medic as well, you definitely want that for the faster use. And Demolition Surplus, so you have extra grenade charge and increased recharge speed when you're outside of combat. You want to definitely max out Pyromania, not because of the Pyromania perk itself, but because you gain access to Flash Sale, which doubles your grenade charges and doubles the recharge rate for flashes, smoke bombs, and recon grenades. So you going from 3 flashbangs at its regular speed to 6 at double the recharge speed is absolutely ridiculous. For cool, we maxed it out to level 20, and on the left side we have a focus on pistols, revolvers, precision rifles, and the sniper rifles. Again, Bald Eagle is a revolver, so we definitely want to take advantage of some of these. Definitely unlock focus. When you have focus, it automatically activates when you aim down sight at full stamina and doesn't cost stamina for shooting and makes your shots more accurate, which is really good. We're also going to be utilizing No Sweat with rinse and reload, pull, head to head, and then we're maxing out Deadeye. So it unlocks Deadeye mode, which is active above 85% stamina. So when it's active, you do get bonuses to your headshot damage and weak spot damage, and there is no bullet spread. So you can hit fire and be completely accurate. Now, I definitely recommend California Reaper with long shot and then quick draw. And then lastly, Nerves of Tungsten Steel. Again, this is for revolver specifically. So when Deadeye is active, it's guaranteed crit hits for headshots and weak spots and increased damage as distance increases. So the farther you are away with it, the more damage it will do. So pretty much it makes a revolver even stronger. On the right column here, we have a couple of perks focused on knives. Again, definitely recommend, you know, maxing out Scorpion Sting. Even just with level 1, having that increased recovery time is good because, like I said, it's not always guaranteed that Fang will return whenever you shoot the leg of a target with Bald Eagle. So just keep that in mind. Definitely recommend Corrosion with Parasite. And then we have Juggler up to 2 to increase the recovery time and increase our headshot and weak spot damage. For intelligence, we just left it at 3 because Kurt Hansen is definitely not a net runner and does not use smart weapons. So under the Relic skill tree, I would highly recommend focusing on the bottom right portion first, which is the Vulnerability Analytics, giving you access to the weak spot damage that pops up, which is really good. So it's 100% crit chance, plus 25% armor penetration, and the weak spot damage gives bonuses. So dealing enough damage to a vulnerability will cause it to explode, generating an EMP blast that damages enemies within 3 meters. The damage to those enemies is kind of ridiculous, so definitely recommend picking this up. And then its other perk on top of it, Machine Alerting. So destroying an enemy's vulnerability grants plus 10% frequency of new vulnerabilities appearing. So if there's a group of enemies, there's a very high chance another vulnerability will appear. And it's a plus 5% crit damage against vulnerability, so even more damage. The duration is 25 seconds and can stack up to 5 times. And then reaching max stacks doubles the effects. So it's just absolutely ridiculous. Now let's talk about Colonel Hansen Cyberware. So if you scan him, again, you can see a limited amount of things under his cyberware, and on the official Cyberpunk wiki, it doesn't have all the gear that he uses, so I kind of had to improvise for some of these, but a lot of them do synergize very well together. So the first thing it says is heavy subdermal armor, which is going to be under the integumentary system. I would recommend just putting on subdermal armor and getting it up to tier 5++ as soon as possible. If you did want to try to use the iconic version, which is chitin, it does cost a lot more on the cyberware, as you can see, but it is extremely durable, subcutaneous shell made of genetically modified chitin and provides health regen. So you automatically get health regen with chitin versus subdermal armor, but this one costs a lot less. The next thing on the list is charge jumps, which leads us down here to legs under fortified ankles. Again, allows you to charge jumps for greater distance. You hold your jump button to charge, then release to jump. You know, this one is great and all. I personally don't like this over something like reinforced tendons, which is the double jump. The weird thing with this is that if you like press to do just like a regular jump, it's a little bit laggy. So if you did want to substitute in reinforced tendons, you can, but canonically, he does use fortified ankles. Under his operating system is the Sandevistan MK1, which isn't really a name for any Sandy in the game, but since he is formerly from Militech, under the operating system, I would recommend either the Militech Falcon or the Militech Apogee Sandy. Again, the Apogee is David Martinez's one. It does give, you know, increased slow time and increased, you know, headshot crit and crit damage. The difference here is that neutralizing an enemy does extend the duration, but it gives a bonus to your stamina versus the Militech Falcon, which does extend the duration, you know, a little less, but it gives bonuses to health. So just use whichever one that you like. Now, the last thing on the list we can see is the Kerenzikov. So if we go into the nervous system, you can select it. So it allows you to aim and perform ranged attacks while sliding, dodging, or dashing. It'll slow down time by 60% for 3.75 seconds when you do this. Note, this is a tier 5++. If it's lower, you will have like reduced stats, but that's neither here or there. Now, if you want some bonuses to the Kerenzikov, under the frontal cortex, you can use the Kerenzikov boost system, which does improve the user's speed and reflexes. So when the Kerenzikov is active, it's a minus 100% stamina cost from shooting, and it does slow down time by plus 19% relative to your enemies. And then you can look into the Defensikov, again, I'm pretty sure I pronounced that correctly, but that's under the integumentary system here. And what it does is when the Kerenzikov ends, it's a plus 90% mitigation chance for 4 seconds. Mitigation grants a chance to reduce incoming damage by current mitigation strength. Basically, it allows you to have reduced damage when you come out of the Kerenzikov. Now let's go over the other cyberware pieces that I'm using, and note I will be giving other options, and a lot of this is pretty interchangeable and pretty versatile. So under the frontal cortex, I would recommend the Mechatronic core so you can do more damage to drones, robots, and mechs and turrets. And then lastly, the iconic axolotl, which will give you a cooldown, a pretty big cooldown. So this is tier 5++, minus 12.5% cooldown instantly for all cyberware after neutralizing an enemy. So if your Sandevistan runs completely out, all you need is about 9 kills and it gets it right back up to 100%. Under the arms, I would just recommend the Gorilla arms. Again, you can upgrade these as much as you want. It does give you bonuses to your body attribute, but again, these aren't a staple of the build. This is just the closest thing that you can kind of use to match Kurt Hansen's arms. Now under skeleton, I would highly recommend bionic joints for the bonus to armor. It is a very low cost to cyberware. Next, we have epimorphic skeleton, which gives us a bonus to our maximum health. Again, this is tier 5++, so it's a plus 15% to our max health, which is really good. And then lastly, Parabellum. It does give us a percentage bonus to our armor, which can be pretty good. You can also look into the iconic version, which is the Rara Avis. If I butchered that, I'm sorry, but it gives an even higher bonus to your armor. It does cost a lot more than the Parabellum, so just keep that in mind. For things under the nervous system, I do like the adrenaline converter, so I do get a bonus to my movement speed for 9 seconds when entering combat. So right when I start a fight, I get that increase in movement speed, which can be good. Then I also like Neofiber, which just gives me a percentage bonus to my mitigation chance and strength. If you did want to look into the iconic version of adrenaline converter, you can look into Adreno Trigger, which is a less percentage movement speed, but it lasts for 60 seconds versus the 9 seconds. Honestly, it doesn't really matter since we can have the cyberware cooldown, you know, pretty quickly. But other things to look into would be the visual cortex support. So your crit chance increases the farther you are from the enemy. And then the iconic version, which is deep field visual interface, which basically gives even more bonuses to that crit chance. Granted, we do have opportunities to already have a high crit chance, so I don't really recommend these ones, but that's up to you. Under the integumentary system, we already talked about subdermal armor and the Defensikov. I do like Pain Editor. It is just a straight minus percentage to all incoming damage, which can be very good, but we do have some other options here, like the Proxy Shield. You know, the closer an enemy is to attacking you, the less damage they deal, and its iconic version, which is peripheral inverse. You can also look into something like Carapace, so you do get a bonus percentage to your armor effectiveness when you're attacked from the rear or the side, and then you could also go range guard, so you do get bonus armor when there are no enemies within 6 meters of you. Under our optics, I am currently rocking the Doomsayer optic, so I can highlight explosives and traps. It only costs 2 on the Cyberware, but if you have enough capacity, definitely go with the iconic cockatrice for the increase to crit chance, or you could go with the Oracle, so it highlights enemies through walls and all the cameras, turrets, explosive. It pretty much highlights everything in your path. Under hands, we do have a couple of options. You could go Ballistic Compressor here, which does only cost 2. It allows you to have the ricochet for any power weapon, and your ricochet damage is increased, so you can keep that in mind. I also like Shock Absorber specifically for this because it does just give a straight percentage minus to your recoil, especially when you get that machine gun rolling. You definitely want to be able to control all the recoil with that. And if you wanted to look into the iconic version, you can look into Immovable Force, which is a minus 33% chance to your recoil and minus 25% to your bullet spread. Note, you can have Immovable Force and Shock Absorber on at the same time. They do not counter each other, so you can have really good recoil direction and bullet spread. Under the circulatory system, we didn't have a lot of options, but I personally like Heal on Kill, so I get health back whenever I neutralize an enemy. Biomonitor is pretty good. Automatically heals you with your equip health item when your health drops below 35% and gives it a plus 15% health item effectiveness. This does also proc Adrenaline Rush, so keep that in mind. Then lastly, I like Clutch Padding, so I have the reduced stamina cost for shooting my weapons. And for your health item, you can either go with the Max Stock or the Bounce Back. I personally like the Max Stock more for the straight bonus to my health, especially if I'm facing, tougher targets and my health is going down really low. I want that big bonus so I know I'm going to stay alive. And for stats to focus on under your Cyberware when you're going to upgrade it, definitely would recommend weapon ones like the Headshot Multiplier, reload speed and handling, and then also bonuses to your explosive for the flashbang, so it has a bigger radius, and also improved health item recharge, and also the benefit to your health. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is my Colonel Kurt Hansen build. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like I said, a lot of Cyberpunk builds offer a lot of versatility, so if you want to change some perks around, some Cyberware around, test out for yourself, definitely do so. If there's something that you like to use as well for a build like this in particular, definitely let me know in the comments. There's plenty of testing to do in this game, so I already have over 400 plus hours. I might as well continue the grind. In any event, if what you saw was valuable or entertaining to you, be sure to drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and then turn the bell next to notifications so you don't miss out on any other build videos here on the channel. If you didn't know, we do live stream here on YouTube on the channel 3 days a week, mostly in the evenings. Again, I mainly play Destiny 2 and Cyberpunk, so if you do want to hop in the stream and hang out, please do so. And if we are running Destiny 2 and we're doing activities together like PvE, PvP, raid carries, dungeon carries, anything like that, again, you can always hop in my Discord. That link will also be in the description. Again, people are looking to play games together, talk about games, piece of tech, anime, and more. Lastly, if you want to support the channel even more, you can look into becoming a member. If you don't know what a membership is essentially like a Twitch subscription. Again, you're going to get access to the exclusive emotes, the monthly badges, and other cool stuff here on the channel for cheaper than what is a Twitch subscription, hilariously enough. My tier 1 is cheaper than a regular tier 1 thing on Twitch. But if you would like more information, all you have to do is press the join button, next subscribe, and I'll give you a rundown with all the details you need. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's been your boy. We'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!